Hello and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy, and governance. I am Shafiu Suleiman. Today, we'll be looking at issues in Nigeria's polity. We will also hope to be joined by, the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, talking about Senator Datti Baba-Ahmed. But before then, we'll take a look at this clip, of the recent visit by his principal, talking about the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, which is generating reactions. He was recently at Dunamis, where he attended, a prayer session. And of course, this has, sent tongues wagging, some would say. But then, before we commence our conversation, let's take a look at the clip.
Former governor of Anambra State, His Excellency Peter Obi, get me the flags. How many you have? Lift them up. The symbolism and the significance of this is that this nation cannot go down.
God, we have no other country except this one. God deliver us. God free us. God liberate us. We have no other nation except this one. God deliver us. Amen.
Well, thank you for joining us. It's still Daily Politics, and we're looking at, this recent visit of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party and the reactions that it's generating. But this is just a prelude, to our conversation with the vice presidential candidate of the party, which is coming up shortly. But here in the studio, I have an in-house analyst talking about Kainde Modu, who will be giving us his perspective. And now, taking a look at this video, Mr. Kainde, which is generating reactions. Beyond the fact that, it was actually, a prayer session in a church, I can see three personalities, politicians, so to speak, from across party lines. Former Governor Park Ibom, and the present governor, and I mean the wife. So looking at this and what, is coming up on the social media in terms of reactions, what do you make out of it?
It's not new. First of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure as always. It's not new. I think turning the pulpits into political platforms has existed as far back as probably intensified 2011, when we had the fresh campaigns, and the president then went around churches, both in the federal capital and across Nigeria, selling his candidature. And of course it was successful because it became the president in 2011. So it's existed that far. I don't know. So what we'd say is campaigns have started indirectly. But I don't know.
But are there campaigns here? If I understand, more like a prayer session, and the the clergy sought to hear, get them involved in the prayer session, you know.
Whatever way you want to put it, it's a campaign. We all know that he's the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, and anybody in that congregation who didn't recognize him as so, or who says he didn't recognize him as so, will probably will be deluding himself or herself. So he was principally there, even if he said he was going to pray, he was principally there to sell his candidature.
But is it wrong for him to attend the church service? You know, because as a Christian, actually, some would say there's nothing wrong for him to go to a church, just like other candidates do.
There's nothing wrong.
Their religious,
there's nothing wrong in selling your candidature on the church platform. There's something hypocritical about it, but there's nothing wrong with it. You understand? Because what we're talking about is not the immediate. It was happens afterwards. Because by going onto the church platform, or
former governor of Anambra State,
for that matter, you are committing yourself. You are committing yourself before God to fulfill all the promises you've made, whether directly or indirectly. And if you do not fulfill those promises, then you're probably a hypocrite. That's the way I see it. Yeah. Not many people will see it that way.
Yeah, but then, you know, some would say it is when, you know, religious leaders begin to endorse candidature that you begin to see them, you know, aligning or taking apart or taking stands with regards to political affiliations or political candidature.
No, but Shafiu, what did you see then just now? It was an endorsement. You brought out 3 flags and you said they should wave it, and you see the flags going up.
Get me the flags.
It isn't the Labour Party flag, it's an
the symbolism
okay,
and the significance of this
what flag
is that this nation cannot go down.
What flag do they give you to raise? Is it not a Nigerian
God,
flag?
we have no other country except this one.
Party flag.
God
You
delivers.
understand, to signify
God
that
free
you are the
us.
flag bearer of
God
the party.
liberate us.
But you also raised the Nigerian
We have
flag.
no other nation.
But it is also coming at a time, you know, there's a lot of tension, especially, I mean, among Nigerians with regards to this partisan lines, you know, or religious lines our politics is taken. And perhaps maybe that's what aggravated the whole scenario.
We can't run away from that. You know, at this time, this is just about 6-7 months to the elections. The tensions will rise. Tempers will rise.
Yeah.
People are trying to convince their fellow citizens that this is the way to take. Parties are trying to convince everybody that they are the right platform to emerge in the offices, in political offices.
Right.
So at this point in time, I think I've covered politics for some time now. At this point in time, close to the election, there are even speculations that the country will break up because of the narratives that come out. But you know that after this, after the elections, miraculously, in the Nigeria that we know, all the tensions
may gradually come down.
Yeah.
Okay, looking at, you know, the whole of all of this scenario and implication, you know, you talked about national unity, stability, you know, and so on. Are politicians also not gauging the mood of the country to perhaps, you know, realize that there are certain things you do that could, you know, arose, you know, such criticisms and concerns?
Our politicians haven't learned haven't learned the lessons of the past, or maybe they've learned it too well, because somehow, despite all the machinations, the country still remains standing. You might say because of the security situation now, and because of the economic hardships now, that maybe tempers are a little bit more raised. But this is a game they've played time and time. Every 4 years, politicians play this game, this blame game. this dragging each other down.
But it is not as heightened as we're beginning to see.
No, don't say that. Don't say that. Because I remember in 2011, you understand, that was when President Jonathan came in as acting, he was a substantive president. He came in to run the race, and there were more distinct, established politicians in the race with him. And there were actually statements that after the election fueled riots across the country. You understand? If you remember. So it's not a new thing. Politicians do this every 4 years, and we, the citizens, let them get away with it because
Former governor of Anambra State.
We are invested emotionally. Too much invested emotionally in these things, these fault lines.
His Excellency Peter Obi.
The fact about it is that after the election, after everything, we still go back to status quo. It is still us the citizens, that we suffer from government misrule, that we suffer
Get me
from
the flags.
all sorts of
How many you have?
machinations of politicians.
So if I understand your position, Nigerians should be able to, at this point at least, the fact that they've seen this trajectory going on over the years and all of you, that there's need for Nigerians to also begin to say no to some of these antics, of politicians, and then begin to also develop, resolutions around the need, to elect, if you like, or support candidates who have the capacity, the competence, and what have you, to deliver the goods, irrespective of where they come from.
You've hit it right on the head. But look at these campaigns. How many of the candidates for presidency, for instance, I'm not talking about all the other political posts, are speaking based on issues on ground? How many? How many have actually identified the root causes from their own perspective of what is wrong with Nigeria now and provided or preferred solutions to what these problems are?
Right.
What you see is people accusing each other of lying, people saying, even the Muslim controversy or debate. It's not what you should be talking about. What we should be talking about is developmental issues that will move this country forward. Because if you get the right leader, if the right leader is in position, and we know that this is a leader that can look in the face of anybody and decide what is right for the country, look in the face of sponsors who have brought in and said, no, yes, I thank you for bringing me in, but I'm not going along your path. Decide that they will not be influenced. Decide that they will not raise one ethnic group or religion above the other.
Right.
If we have that leader, you understand, Nigerians are very simple people. I don't mean that in a disparaging manner.
Accommodating.
They're accommodating. You understand? If we have a good leader, all these machinations, these fault lines, Nigerians will easily forget them.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Kandi Modu, for your perspectives. I understand our guest is already here, so we'll take a break now to usher him in. We really appreciate your perspectives. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
In case you're just joining us, it's still Daily Politics, and of course, we'll take a short break. As I told you earlier, we'll be engaging the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Senator Datti Baba-Ahmed. Stay with us.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
Thank you for staying with us. There's a growing concern over Nigeria's current political trajectory, taking a dangerous dimension, with religious, ethnic and religious fault lines becoming more glaring months before the 2023 general elections. The emergence of what many termed a third force or alternative political party under the Obi Datti ticket, and the audacious choice of Muslim ticket by the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, many say, are largely responsible for the emerging political dynamics. On Daily Politics, we ask, where could these politics of identity, religious and regional politicking take Nigeria to? How can the current trajectory further inflame the already polarized political atmosphere? Is there some sort of elite consensus around the need for a paradigm shift in the political space? These and many more questions will form part of our discussions. And our guest is none other than the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, former Senator Dr. Yusuf Datti Baba-Ahmed. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir, and apologies for the delay.
We appreciate, despite the situation, I understand you had to, okay, attend to some issues. Thank you very much for coming this
My pleasure and honor.
Okay, let's go straight to, the issues. Let's start with, what we just talked about now, the visit, if you like, of your principal to the Dunamis prayer session, has generated some sort of concerns. And this is also coming at a time Nigerians are looking at the configuration around, the various candidates. Some say the Peter Obi Datti ticket might likely be, a ticket of the Southeast extraction. Some say it could be, one religious organization's ticket, the CAN, for instance. Some also look at it as, a ticket for, the coming together of certain minorities, especially in the north, who felt also marginalized in the area. In terms of religion, the Afenifere, all sorts of, permutations around it. How do you feel, as a running mate to Peter Obi, when you see all of this, being peddled around?
I feel very comfortable and I feel energized. But most of all, I feel the solution to Nigeria's many problems are on course to being achieved.
Okay.
From your questions, there is need to go back and ask a few more.
Okay.
Really, what is politics about? Everybody has to calm down. Things are so hot in Nigeria. And what happens when things are hot? People tend to lose a bit of touch with reality. They tend to lose touch with senses. And at this point in time, I'm saying we're not part of that bandwagon that are willfully overheating the system. We are those asking everybody to calm down. please let us just stop for a minute and ask this question. What is politics about? Politics is about making life good. Politics is about living good national lives through good governance. That is it. It is, of course, a lot more complicated than the way I'm saying. Politics is not about promoting your faith. If you are promoting your faith, there's a completely different line, channel, life you should be living. You should be speaking with completely different people. Also, we should calm down and look at history of mankind itself. Whenever you have a community that reaches 1 million, it begins to split.
Okay. So it's normal.
It is normal.
Right.
You can never have such a large number uniform.
Yeah. But is it?
You see, there are natural forces in the diversity of Nigeria. What Labour is doing right now, people like me, is that if politics is really about using good governance to ensure a good national life, if this is what it's about, and all of us now are able to calm down to understand what politics is about, then for God's sake, clean out those imaginary lines.
Okay.
I come from a state in Kaduna where we have about 15 different languages or ethnic groups, as we will say. This is excellent. And in the last 60, 70 years, we've been in one nation, then North Central states, Northern state, North Central state, Kaduna state, old Kaduna state and present Kaduna state. And we're still forging ahead. We can do better.
Yeah. Talking about cleaning the imaginary lines,
Yes.
some will find it a little bit difficult, looking at perhaps the support base.
Thank you.
Is it?
Thank you.
Right.
Now, listen to this. From road construction to the second Niger Bridge, to building airports and seaports and rail tracks, and all those things, stopping the killings, forging unity, improving education, building, all those are easy. People like me, while we're resting, sleeping, they are building for us. Like Peter Obi, he ran a state that was functional wherever he was. Those are the soft, easy, low-lying fruits. You know what is difficult in politics? The heart of the human being. The psyche of citizens. That is the most difficult part. In fact, if there is anything that stands between us and peace and prosperity, is our hearts.
Okay.
Because, listen. There's abundant wealth in Nigeria. There's abundant human resource and knowledge and capacity to the extent that other countries come from their countries, open hotels and say, come, we want to, they take away our expertise. All over the world, Nigerian expertise is making those countries what they are. What is stopping us from our greatness are our hearts. That is the most difficult.
Yeah. Okay.
And let me finish.
Right.
What is in our hearts that is making it so difficult? A natural detestation, if there is such a word. I don't want to use the word hatred. We don't hate each other. But a natural detestation, fear, suspicion, and worst of all, pride. There is certain pride and ego tied to what is going on now.
Okay.
Again, I want to go real far back in history.
Right. Okay.
No.
I
You have to listen to me.
You can go on
must,
and on.
No. You must listen to this.
Well,
you must
because
listen
of
to
the
this.
limited time we have.
There was a great Muslim warrior called Salah ad-Din.
Al-Ayyubi.
Yes, and even though some people say that he won Jerusalem, the fact of the matter is he negotiated Jerusalem because of the leader then was such a powerful figure, and they realized they couldn't win. They had to negotiate. Now, at the end of the negotiation, the leader of Jerusalem, after Salah was rising, he said, by the way, what is Jerusalem worth? And that is when Salah-ad-Din realized, yes, what is Jerusalem worth? And then he looked back and said, nothing. By that he's saying our pride. The pride in our hearts that it must be us. It must be our faith. It must be our ethnic group and all those. Is that poison in our heart that is making us to dislike others.
Yeah.
Now, in others there is competence, there is capacity, there is everything. And I think it is about time to agree to answer the name that we're Nigerians. Let me conclude. Peter Obi is a Nigerian. Datti Baba-Ahmed is a Nigerian.
Right.
Even though I paid very high price for saying that, but look, those who are attacking me, I want them to know. As for the ethnic one, I forgive them. As for the religious one, I'm a strong, staunch Muslim, proud one.
Yeah.
I have been involved in promoting Islam all my life. I come from a family.
Right.
For them to do what they have done, I want them to come and apologize, and I will forgive.
Yeah, but
Okay?
yes.
So
But
I have paid a very high price. I have started paying a high price. Peter Obi is a Nigerian. I'm a Nigerian, and the project ahead of us now is rescuing Nigeria, and we're going to do it.
okay, so talking about the Nigerian project, you know,
Yes.
and the fact that yes, we are a Nigerian, Peter Obi is a Nigerian, but you talked about the fault lines, you talked about the suspicions, the mutual suspicions, you know, among Nigerians, and why that is happening. The underlying factors are there for everyone to know. I mean, to see the rising level of poverty in the country, hunger, you know, and so on and so forth. But Nigerians would be interested in how you're trying, I mean, what you are doing in your own capacity to mend this fence, you know, perhaps to bring people together, to erase those, you know, fault lines that
I can answer your question.
Right.
The best thing that can happen to Nigerian unity today is to elect Peter Obi as president.
But how can he be trusted, some will say?
He has been trusted before.
Yeah.
Federal government of Nigeria agencies under the Central Bank of Nigeria followed through everything and established a bank and became its chairman. He left business and became a governor. He is trusted. How can he be trusted? Because he has people like me around. How can he be trusted? Because there is no stain to his name. How can he be trusted? Because we have seen political deliverables. How can he be trusted? Because he never said he could and he didn't. Okay. How can he be trusted? Because Nigerians are each other's brothers' keepers. We're not going to just hear and accept and use wild allegations. How can he be trusted? Because Nigeria can be great. Yeah. One of the best things that can happen today in Nigeria for Nigerian unity is to show that despite all the configurations and all the things that have happened, look, in 2018, 4 years ago exactly, I was unapologetically seeking the office of president, realistically so. 2022, I decided not to. I have already given my reasons why I didn't. Because then they trusted us. Peter Obi could have contested presidency in 2018. He had the age, the resources, the experience, but he didn't. Why? They showed respect for what understanding that we have.
Well, some people raise, you know, two fundamental issues around his, you know, looking back at who Peter Obi is, for instance, you talked about his commitment, to the Nigerian project and so on.
Can I interrupt you?
Some people look at, I mean, two issues are always being brought forward. One is perhaps tacit support for the outlawed IPOB, at some point.
I disagree.
And again,
let me stop you there.
It's also so that you can take the two.
All right.
So that you can take the two. It was also seen as an ethnic, kind of person, because at some point there was this issue around people who live in his state who are not, from his ethnic
can I answer
background and what have you, and then
I know
how he treated such people. These are issues around, that requires explanation.
Can I answer you? Can I explain?
Right.
First of all, here I'm a victim of such lies.
Okay.
If only I wasn't, then I could somehow begin to say that there's... Now, those wild allegations that people were not treated fairly, or they said were killed. What you're refusing to say, let me say it. Now, who is the killer? The person who kept quiet for 8 years, even though the case could have begun. Where are their relatives? Where are their friends? Where are their community and faith leaders? Why did they keep quiet for 8 years while he was governor? Why did they keep quiet all the time that he left governorship when the case could have gone to court until when he declared for presidency? Now tell me who treated who bad. This is wrong.
I was actually
Listen,
referring,
let me answer you.
I was actually referring to the profiling, the ethnic profiling.
Look, I'm giving you an answer.
Okay.
Those profiles are nothing but pure agenda. People went to the extent of saying that I said I don't want to be a Muslim. I don't want to be called a Muslim. This is, how can I say, more than wild. It is unfair. It is in every sense unrealistic. Someone who I established a university, put my father's name, and the emblem of a slate, a low Muslim tablet,
That's right,
as the logo of it, sponsored the journey of Islamic Development Bank, tried to work on Islamic New Year. Look, I have built at least 4 mosques, even though I'm not supposed to be saying because of Allah's blessings and all those.
that's right.
Yet, for political reasons, the best thing that they could do for someone who has done all these things for the community is to go and say, because they are angry or not happy that I am being a nationalist this time around, to start attacking me. Let's come back to those allegations and profilings you're talking about. I sharply disagree with you that Peter Obi is in support of IPOB, because I wouldn't be with him today. He is, and I
But some documentary evidences, some of his previous interviews, perhaps alluded to that.
No. The same kind of interview that they did to me, when I said that I want to be addressed for 2023 elections, I want to be addressed as a Nigerian. There is nothing that people can... Just this morning, I had to do a press conference because of the multiplicity of fake news all around. Remember what I told you? Our only hurdle, between the only prevention between us and our peace and prosperity is the human heart. And this is what the human heart is doing to the human being. It destroys your thinking. It destroys the trust you should have, because so long as you are not living alone, nature says that you must trust the other. You don't have a choice, but it's not, you must, because you're coexisting. Those allegations are yet unsubstantiated. I'll give you another example. Listen, I don't want to stop you. They keep quiet for 16 years after a certain event, until when that individual declares for presidency, then they scamper to go and look for. I tell you, those who kept quiet are accomplices to the crimes.
Even though some would say it's normal in politics. As soon as you throw your hat in the ring, certainly...
It is not normal it is not normal...
Everything about you will be interrogated.
No. It is not normal in the kind of allegations they made. Politics is different. Crimes and those allegations are different. So take that correction. For example, they said Northerners were treated unfairly by being made to wear ID cards. Before I decided to join Peter Obi's ticket, within a week, I did all the investigations I could. Mobile phones were already carrying cameras then. I asked for, I even offered some compensation. Can I just see one picture of anybody who stood and said, this is evidence that while Peter Obi was governor in Anambra State, he made me to wear this? None. Millions were supposed to have won. Not one of them cared to take a picture of himself or of another person. Come on, wake up. Not out of millions were supposed to have won it. Can I just see a copy of a genuine one? And I offered something that I want to see, a copy of that ID card that they wore. None.
Right.
And I should sit down and believe reckless people who just talk anyhow because you've come out in politics when I know the kind of politics that we play.
Okay, away from the allegations now, let's look at other critical issues in national life. There are certain people also who are pessimistic even about the possibility of the conduct of the 2023 elections. Looking at the current security situation in the country, the escalating nature, and of course the rampaging terrorists who are also beginning to take on state forces and what have you. Does it give you some sort of concern as politicians looking at the current situation?
I have always been concerned about how Nigeria, with or without elections, I have been too concerned about Nigeria that I got myself into politics. Yes, so it does give me concern. From 2003 to 2015, Nigerian politics was practically about just one individual. That individual has ruled Nigeria for 8 years, and elections are threatened because of his misgovernance? No way. Elections will hold, Nigeria will survive. Remember, in April of the year 2000, there was a call that Muslims should not elect a Christian by a very highly placed individual. And all Nigerian leaders were thinking, this is not the parlance, this is not the language of a leader. And that leader went on and on. Elections must hold, not just so. They called every election fraudulent until they won. When they won, it wasn't fraudulent.
Yeah, but we're looking at
and
this.
then we saw, and then we saw the conduct of 2019 elections, which I was part of. I was chairman of the research and policy arm of the PDP. We saw everything that happened, the voter turnouts that they claimed, and all those. Now, after making Nigeria about an individual, running these 8 years, and then you come and threaten our lives and our future? No.
But the issue we're talking about is perhaps the concern about the security situation and whether or not this prevailing conditions would allow for the conduct of
the Nigerian Senate is already contemplating impeaching President Buhari. I have moved away from that because as far back as 3 years ago, what I was saying 4 years ago that people were not listening to me, all this insecurity, I predicted what will happen to that train. I'm not an angel of doom. Pure calculations, pure imagination that I did. And it happened. And now that we have come this far, months away from elections, they say that the security is so bad, elections may not hold. No, they should. Everything that is supposed to hold must continue to hold. I have moved away because, look, the Nigerian Senate is already doing my bidding. if I were to see Philip Aduda, a good friend, right from reps and
But the
Senate,
presidency is also not sleeping. It is also taking, measures to address.
No. I disagree with you.
So what?
Sorry, sir. I disagree with you. Even though I try to avoid those people, the presidency is sleeping. Please retract that. The presidency is asleep.
Even with the current measures we're beginning to see, the meetings, the changing strategy, the reinforcements and what have you. Okay.
Over 7 years afterwards, remember, this is a government who said that a group was technically defeated in 2015. In the same 2015, they went to Zaria, my local government, and killed a large number of people to start another one. And they said it was defeated. And now it is the same group that are saying that attacked 7 years later in Abuja. Please, my friend, the presidency is asleep. I have done the best I can to shy away from any form of comments on this. Well, when it comes to Nigerian security, I'm ready to ruffle feathers. I'm sorry to say.
Okay, but you're also hopeful.
Nigeria is our country.
Right.
We will not sit and let it go down because of anybody's incompetence.
Right. Okay, but you are also hopeful to emerge, for instance, victorious at 2023 elections.
Yes.
If you are able to, secure the mandates of Nigerians, what would you do differently, to change the narrative?
Every day we face these questions. We will fix Nigeria.
How?
And the reason, I can't tell you this because it is security. We will provide good governance.
But Nigerians will be interested in how you can put XYZ to stop the killings, for instance.
We will implement consumption to production one. We will improve the economy. But those other things regarding our security must not be said out here.
Okay.
We'll improve the welfare. We're going to save a lot of money from the waste that we see today. My career in procurement, Peter Obi's attitudes in saving money, using money prudently, this is a strong combination that Nigeria must not lose, even if I were not the one speaking here today. Nigeria has never had it so good in terms of a combination of people.
Right.
Who are going to. So look, for security,
security issues.
Nigeria, by the grace of God Almighty, Nigeria will be secured.
Okay. Fundamentally, some would say there is linkage between education and perhaps also the level of security we are saying. We're talking about empowerment, human capital development, which is very crucial. Now we are also faced with, months of, a strike by ASU. Universities are shut down. You are an academician. You have an institution, so to speak. Two institutions,
with the hospital,
they'll be running, even though they are away from the masses, so to speak. Some would say they are very hard costs.
That is not fair for you to say. That is not fair for you to say. That is very, very unfair for you to say. Because we private universities charge lower than public universities in absolute terms. If you divide, and I've been saying this, divide the total budget, including grants and everything that all the Nigerian universities public receive, and divide it by the number of students they carry, you will come out with a number higher than the fees that private universities charge. This is nothing good is easy, nothing good is cheap.
That's right. Okay,
and look, people like me believe in the work we do. And I will go to every extent to provide good education, including bringing professors from abroad and paying them in hard currency, the hard currency that our government has mismanaged to where it is today, including the security that they've mismanaged, that if you're bringing in expatriates to teach your students, you have to give them expensive 24-hour security. So look, we are unapologetically providing the best at the right cost.
No, okay. Beyond, even though we should charge you for advertising.
You brought the question.
But then,
you asked the question.
What we're concerned about is
you asked the question.
The fact that you have the experience.
Yes.
what is it that we're not doing, and that led us to where we are today? And what should be done to get the universities back to life?
We are not electing the right leaders. And the moment you elect the right leaders, those leaders will extract for you ab initio and ahead of time commitment from us so that in a 4-year period they will not go on strike. I will beg President Peter Obi to be part of that drive.
President Peter Obi.
Inshallah, inshallah, I will beg him to be part of that.
Okay.
And we will also show them, they will work with us to see how all their points, a workable plan, to an extent they would even be part of that plan.
At some point, you're also a banker. You have experience in the economy, and Nigeria is, currently battling, some of the declining indices in its economy, rising unemployment, rising inflation, high cost of living, and so on and so forth. All of these are trajectories that are unpalatable to Nigerians. What is leading us to where we are today, and what needs to be done, to get us back?
My good friend, you asked me the same question twice, and I'm happy to answer you. We have been electing the wrong leaders. We have been, okay, this answer I'll give you.
Right.
We have been voting based on sentiments.
How does that stop us from addressing the problems? Because if we're voting based on sentiments, and things are also working, before now, at some point, and now we're getting it back, we're not getting it right. What do we need to do?
Things stopped working long before now. To the extent that taking power is a matter of, it's our turn. It has to be my type. It has to be my kind. And all those. Taking power was reduced to individuals of means. Taking power was no longer about the personal, tested and trusted conduct of the candidates. Taking power ended up being the ego of political kingpins. And that is why way back in 2015, somebody added his 3 million votes to someone who has been carrying 12 to make the difference.
That is why we politics, alliances and what have you.
Yes.
Interesting part of politics.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then looking at, there is need for...
something I've been saying since 2003, if politics is about interest, governance should be about righteousness.
Yeah. Okay. Nigerians will be interested in the blueprint, for instance. Just take one, for instance. The level of the devaluation of the naira, the free fall of the naira. What can we do, perhaps as a country, to stop this? Because it's really affecting
very
the
quickly.
economic dynamics.
You need to have a leader whose family is not involved in trading the dollar. That is point number one. The very, very point number one. You need to have a government who did not retain a CBN governor and use that retention to continue to squeeze dollar out of them. You need a government which the leader will lead by example. I and my people are making nothing out of the dollar, and everybody can see it. The dollar goes into the economy proper. And then either abolish the differences or manage down the different exchange rates. That gap of now 400 to 300 naira, the more the naira falls, the more money they make. And that naira, what do? They still buy more dollars with it.
Okay. Lastly, still talking economy.
I have given you points, right?
Yes, right.
That is how to go about it.
We have much more other issues to talk about. For instance, how do we address our piling debt, the debt profile, which perhaps if you are elected into power, you have to inherit. What can we do?
Generate more revenue, because in our DNA is the capacity to prevent waste and the capacity wherever we're losing our revenues oil production, internal revenue, use of technology, and then proliferation of sources of income for Nigeria. So many that I cannot believe what we are wasting. I mean, crude oil is not... His Excellency Peter Obi said,
Right.
the fertile land in the north is the crude oil of Nigeria. The kind of money that Nigeria will make is rather unbelievable as we sit here. And that is what brought me to not just say, but to expound that His Excellency Peter Obi and I, we are not looking for money in government. We are looking to run a government in money.
Okay.
And Nigeria has that money. We know where it is and we'll use it.
Okay.
Once we trap those revenues, boost the productive base, increase every source of income for Nigeria, that automatically answers, because we can manage the debt profile better. Those that should be paid off, pay them off.
Okay.
It's a function of the bottom line. What are the totals?
That's right.
You now have more revenue, that you can do more capital projects, and your recurrent debt servicing. That automatically answers by simply preventing waste, which again, like I say, is what he and I are about.
Okay, thank you very much, for that wonderful, perspective on how to fix the economy.
My pleasure and duty.
Yes, but then because of time, we have to, come to a close on this show.
This is very
interesting.
interesting.
We hope we can continue with this conversation.
It's very interesting, I know, but
we hope we can get you some other time to also be in the studio. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Senator Yusuf Datti Baba-Ahmed, Vice Presidential Candidate of the Labour Party, talking to us on daily politics. And on this note, we come to the end of the program. On behalf of the technical crew, my name is Shafiu Suleiman. Have a wonderful time ahead.